Tonight, it's election eve.
A call only hours away. The leaders, the voters, the stakes. Rosemary breaks it all down from Rideau Hall. Donald Trump's national security advisor is out.
And subway suicides are on the rise. How Canada's biggest public transit system is turning to commuters for help.
Plus, The Handmaid's sequel.
This is more than a book release. This is a cultural moment.
Worldwide buzz over Margaret Atwood's new novel. This is The National. Well, it may seem like an election is already underway. Ads are running, candidates are door knocking. One party's even rolled out its bus. But the official campaign will finally get started tomorrow. Rosemary is leading our election coverage.
We are in Ottawa tonight, just outside Rideau Hall. And that is because, of course, the Prime Minister will be here in the morning to formally ask the Governor-General to dissolve Parliament and send you to the polls in less than 6 weeks. This election will look a lot different than the last one in 2015, where Justin Trudeau was the underdog, and he certainly isn't now. As David Cochrane explains, his opponents have 4 years' worth of Liberal leadership to criticize.
On the day before it begins, there is still a country to run and a region savaged by storm.
And there's lots more work to do, and the federal government is here to support in any way we can.
And so the campaign will begin with the cleanup still underway. For Trudeau, success this election hinges on recapturing the magic of the last one.
Better is always possible. Merci.
In 2015, he surged from third to first as the Liberals more than doubled their vote. Since then, he's delivered big checks to most families, low unemployment, good economic growth. But no longer the long shot, Trudeau is now the incumbent, with missteps on the world stage, political controversies at home, and broken promises on election reform.
He's not as advertised.
The attacks on Trudeau's credibility have already started to both discourage and court left-leaning voters.
Not just saying the right things, but actually doing them.
With the NDP and Greens arguing you can't be a climate champion and buy a pipeline. So expect an election about credibility, but also affordability.
We can build a universal pharmacare for all.
The NDP is promising to spend bigger than Liberals on things like pharmacare to help Canadians make ends meet.
Because it's time for you to get ahead.
While these Conservative ads have been running non-stop, going hard on the argument that life is harder under the Liberals.
That is what we are going to do together.
Through it all, Trudeau can still draw a crowd. He's been damaged but not destroyed by a year of controversies and contradictions. As polls consistently suggest, he is still the most popular choice for Prime Minister.
Okay, David, obviously we've been waiting. I've been waiting a long time for what's going to happen tomorrow. Any sense of why they finally went with tomorrow?
Yeah, look, after the marathon election campaign of 2015, we knew there'd be something more along the conventional lines, 5.5 weeks, so that we knew that the Liberals were targeting this week for quite some time, but a couple of things they had to manage. One expected, one unexpected. The expected, the Manitoba election. You don't want to start one election just as a provincial election is wrapping up, which is happening today. The unexpected, the storm that hit Atlantic Canada. So Sunday and Monday got taken off the table as days where you could start the campaign because you don't want to launch a campaign in the middle of a potential natural disaster. Which brings us to tomorrow, 9/11. Which is an interesting choice. It's either a bold one or an ominous one to put the campaigns in the air, but the reality is it had to be called by Sunday, and they were just running out of time to get this started.
Okay, and you're hitting the road with the PM tomorrow.
We're flying out to the West Coast, first stop, Vancouver.
All right, interesting. We'll see you then, David. David Cochrane's here with me at Rideau Hall. So tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern, the Prime Minister will visit the Governor-General, Judy Payette. And as we've been talking about, it may seem like campaigns have started, but that visit, that specific visit, will change things significantly. Here's how. It is essentially the starting gun for the campaign, which will last 40 days. Parliament is officially dissolved by Canada's Governor-General, Julie Payette. That means all pending legislation in the Senate and House of Commons dies, including, for instance, the formal ratification of NAFTA. There have already been restrictions on how much political parties can spend before the official campaign, but other spending caps will now be in place for the duration of it, roughly $28 million per party provided, of course, the party has managed to raise that kind of money to spend, which is not the case for all of them.
Because it's time for you.
So, starting tomorrow, you will see more ads, campaign planes, and buses, and yes, more campaign signs on people's front yards.
He's a yes man.
Spending for third parties also gets limited during the campaign, so unions or advocacy groups or anyone else who wants to sway voters must be registered with Elections Canada and are limited to about $500,000 during the campaign. And finally, get ready to just see a whole lot more of the people vying to be your next Member of Parliament and Prime Minister. We'll, of course, have you covered tomorrow morning. I'm probably just going to sleep here. I'll be back at Rideau Hall with special coverage starting at 9 a.m. Eastern. You can watch it all live on CBC News Network and CBC Television. We'll also be streaming online at cbcnews.ca and on our CBC News app and on CBC Gem. Many, many ways to watch. Later in the hour, we'll dig into one of the big issues for voters. That's the cost of living. But for now, let's head back to Toronto.
Yeah, and let's get right to the latest big change in Donald Trump's White House. John Bolton lasted 17 months as Trump's national security advisor, which is longer than any other. But as Paul Hunter tells us, much of that time was spent aggravating the president.
On his final morning as Donald Trump's national security advisor, John Bolton stepped outside the West Wing, it would seem, for some privacy. Inside, a president with whom Bolton was now irreparably incompatible.
John Bolton's priorities and policies just don't line up with the president's, so the president made a change.
Trump tweeted he fired Bolton. Bolton then tweeted he quit. Either way, Trump now seeks his fourth national security advisor in 3 years, a key post in any White House.
While they might work well on a TV show where your signature line is "you're fired," doesn't make for predictable or steady management of the senior levels of the administration.
The broader view, the whole thing underlines, if you disagree with Trump, you're doomed. Bolton disagreed with him often, pressing for a harder approach on North Korea, arguing against Trump's plans, since called off, to bring Taliban leaders to Camp David for peace talks around this week's 9/11 anniversary.
It was my idea to terminate it. I didn't discuss it with anybody else.
At a White House briefing today, meant to have included Bolton, the question, will his departure now mean a softer approach on Iran? Said Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin, Trump's open to talks with Iran's president, but U.S. pressure continues.
And it's absolutely working. Now, the president has made clear he's happy to take a meeting with no preconditions, but we are maintaining the maximum pressure campaign.
Said Iran to that almost immediately. The end of Bolton signals the failure of U.S. pressure. So to Mnuchin, another question. Is the U.S. national security team a mess? Said Mnuchin, that's ridiculous. Paul Hunter, CBC News, Washington.
Now, to be fair, the inner circles of U.S. presidents do tend to have high turnovers, but Trump is outpacing every other in recent memory. So far, Donald Trump has had 7 directors of communication, 4 secretaries each of Homeland Security, Health and Human Services, and Veterans Affairs, 3 secretaries of defense, 3 attorneys general, 3 directors of national intelligence, 3 press secretaries, and 2 CIA directors. And keep in mind, that's not even a complete list. The partridge in a pear tree is the one I didn't mention there. Okay, let's turn now to a big story in Atlantic Canada. Adrian's back clearly from Nova Scotia, and you've been leading our coverage of the damage from Dorian. It's good to have you back.
Well, thank you. It is getting better there, bit by bit, but we're still keeping tabs on the recovery tonight. So power, we know, has been restored to more than 320,000 households in Nova Scotia. That's nearly 80% of those people who'd been affected. Other losses can be harder to fix. Elizabeth McMillan checks in with someone we first met on Sunday.
Tom Rhino is in awe of the team that has shown up to help him. They're recovering what's left of his 40-year-old boathouse.
That is very surreal to turn around and there's so many people you know, people you don't know, and they're all wet to their necks out there standing in mud and seaweed and debris.
A nearby breakwater was no match for Dorian's storm surge. The pounding left remnants of a dozen wharves and several sheds floating in this cove.
There was 10-meter waves. So that's just hundreds of tons of water pushing against a man-made structure.
Across Nova Scotia, people are still assessing the damage. Soldiers and reservists are helping clear downed trees. Tens of thousands of households are still waiting for electricity, and many are still cut off from phone and internet service. The public safety minister says people should report those concerns to the CRTC.
We need to build infrastructure, including telecommunications infrastructure, in this country that is increasingly resistant to abnormal circumstances because, at least for one reason, the accelerating consequences of climate change.
Across the Cove, members of this crew have put in more than 50 hours of work since the storm passed. Despite worries about more violent weather in the future, Rhino and his neighbors aren't going anywhere.
But the storms are bigger. The water's coming up higher, so we have to do something different.
This time, he wants to build structures that can be pulled out of the water in advance of the next storm. Elizabeth McMillan, CBC News, Herring Cove, Nova Scotia.
Here in Toronto, transit officials launched a public initiative today on a subject often only whispered about. The TTC wants open, responsible talk about suicide, from employee to commuter, even stranger to stranger. Joanna Remiliotis explains what's behind this plan.
It could be so small, and yet it could save a life. At Toronto subway, the message to commuters, just say hi.
A simple human contact, that's all we're really asking is if you see somebody that looks upset, just reach out to them and say, how's it going today?
The new initiative is part of the Toronto Transit Commission's suicide prevention strategy.
Can't believe this weather.
Research in the UK has found small talk.
Is everything all right?
Can break a deadly impulse and set someone on a path to recovery. So far in 2019, there have been 21 suicide attempts that resulted in 9 deaths on Toronto subway.
What we're trying to do is broaden the net. We've got TTC employees in stations, we've got our special constables, our fare inspectors, we've got janitors and lots of people there, but they're not everywhere, and they're not all the time everywhere. And so we're trying to reach out and ask customers to lend a hand, to be the one to save the life.
Asking commuters to help also comes with a plan for when they can't. Mental health volunteers will now be on hand after a suicide incident to help traumatized witnesses.
The day after, because people tend to have certain schedules, so they may return at the same time. So that's what we're trying to do, is have people there around the same time as it occurred the day before.
And what would you be offering?
Emotional support and whatever resources that we think they may need or that they may ask for.
The goal behind all this is to break the silence and the stigma around suicide and to frame it as a preventable tragedy. But there is always a fear of triggering copycats.
We want to be open about mental health and about suicide.
The suicide expert is helping the TTC find the right tone.
People who are suicidal are vulnerable and vulnerable to messaging, and we have to make sure that we get the right message out, which is that there is hope and that people care.
That is the message here, and so is the hope, that commuters realize they can do so much to save a life with so little. Joanna Remiliotis, CBC News, Toronto.
And that announcement is part of the TTC's wider strategy to prevent suicides. And the National got exclusive access as it was being developed. We'll take you inside a little later.
Plus, taking on big tech, the growing challenges and scrutiny. We're back in 2 minutes. Hey there, welcome back. Let's get to Ian in our national newsroom in Vancouver. He's watching developing stories for us.
And the big developing story that we're keeping a close eye on is in Manitoba, where polls in the provincial election closed just over 15 minutes ago. Karen Pauls is at PC Party headquarters in Winnipeg. Early minutes, I know, Karen, but what are we expecting to see?
Ian, the results are just starting to trickle in, but we don't expect a lot of surprises here tonight. The PCs called this election more than a year early, and you don't do that unless you feel pretty confident. They're looking at very good organization on the ground, very good budget to get the vote out. It may not be the blue wave they experienced in 2016 when they won 40 of 57 seats, but internal polling is saying they could win 37 or 38, and they only need 29 for a majority government. Now, the NDP is hoping to bounce back from a humiliating loss in 2016. Leader Wab Kinew is confident, but even loyal supporters are saying the party may not have done enough to win back all those disillusioned voters. Kinew has been asking the Liberal and Green supporters to support his team instead as the only way to beat the PCs. Now, the Liberals are trying to hang on to official party status with 4 seats. The Green may have their only chance to win their first seat in Manitoba in a riding where they came in second in 2016 to an NDP incumbent who has since retired. So that may be the riding to watch tonight. Ian.
All right, thanks, Karen. Karen Pauls in Winnipeg tonight. More stories developing this evening in about 20 minutes. Now it's back to Toronto.
Well, Apple unveiled new versions of its old favorites today at the company's annual launch event. But executives may have more on their minds than just moving product. Apple is one of several tech giants under the microscope for dominating the tech space and leaving no room for competition. Jacqueline Hansen now on whether this could be a tipping point for big tech.
This is iPhone 11.
The show is as flashy as always. But behind the scenes, Apple is facing pressure to change its ways. Competitors complain its App Store favors Apple content, and it's not the only tech company to be scrutinized. Yesterday, 50 bipartisan U.S. state attorneys general took on Google over its search results and whether it points people to its own products.
When my daughter is sick and I search online for advice or doctors, I want the best advice from the best doctors, not the doctor and not the clinic who can spend the most on advertising.
Big tech is under increasing pressure. Last week, U.S. federal lawmakers also launched an investigation into Facebook over how it handles users' data. In such a volatile environment, investors aren't as hyped about tech stocks as they used to be. Over the past year, Apple, Amazon, and Netflix stocks are all down, and the others are far off the incredible gains they've long been known for.
That selling just started with Tim Cook.
This analyst says even tech company executives, insiders, are selling shares, particularly in Netflix, Apple, Facebook, and Amazon. Insider selling when prices are low is unusual.
If something goes on sale at the supermarket, if it's marked down, you buy it. Unless you think, well, why is it on sale? Maybe it's on sale for a reason. Maybe this tech rally has approached its sale date and insiders are selling.
Insiders could be selling shares for lots of other, even personal reasons. Still, analysts and investors are watching for what happens next, how far regulators go to rein in some of these companies left to run and grow unchecked for years. Jacqueline Hansen, CBC News, Toronto.
All right, time for a quick break, but when we come back in depth, the number of subway suicides is growing, so we got exclusive access to Toronto's Transit Commission to talk about how small, simple gestures could really save lives. We want to take a closer look at one of our top stories tonight, the Toronto Transit Commission's plan to deal openly with suicide. Canadians know how difficult a subject this is. It affects so many. The stigma still persists. And the rate of death by suicide may have dropped nationally, but the TTC has seen a rise. And so it's talking about it to employees, to the public, and to us through months of exclusive behind-the-scenes access. Ioana Remiliotis heard the stories that shaped the response.
On any day, at any moment, it can happen. In the depths of Toronto subway, suicide hovers like a silent scream, piercing those left behind.
Part of me does blame myself, but logically I know it's not my fault. And I keep thinking over and over and over in my mind, what could I have done? What could I have done better? What didn't I do? Why didn't I see this?
Next station is St. Clair. It was baffling and devastating. 3 years ago, Karen Padbury's son Michael ended his life here. He had a young family, a promising career, so much to live for.
I guess I just wanted to know that it ended quickly. And it did, from what I found out. So if there's any thing about this whole thing, I didn't want him to have to suffer. And I guess he was suffering when he was alive, but we didn't know it.
The depth of her son's anguish was a mystery, but it led to an extraordinary openness. The Toronto Transit Commission acknowledged Michael's death was deliberate. It was a crack in the silence that had shrouded subway suicide for decades, a silence the TTC is now shattering.
We're not glorifying things and we're not blaming people, but we do need to talk about it.
As the TTC's chief safety officer, John O'Grady knows the suicide statistics all too well. In every one, he sees a human story, and he wants to change the way the story ends.
This gentleman, a 73-year-old person.
John is sharing these images publicly for the first time.
He's carrying a picture frame, and so he spends a lot of time staring at the picture frame. He's pretty morose. He gets up, walks to the edge, the train is incoming. He watches the train come in. The judgment made by the person who's evaluating this is that he was psyching himself up, trying to build up courage. My own view is it takes a lot of courage to take your own life, and it's not uncommon for people to take time to do it.
The haunting video was captured by TTC cameras. Suicide attempts are compiled for training purposes.
And so the other behavior that we're interested in here is that he's in the station for a while.
And John says, reveal a devastating picture.
It's not just numbers, it's people. So I don't know who he is, but he's obviously sad. He's probably sad about whoever's in that picture. You know, and all these other passengers waiting, they're going to witness this. They're all going to be traumatized. They're going to go home and talk about it and traumatize their family or their co-workers or their schoolmates or whoever they are. And it just ripples out and out. And a lot of people are affected who aren't even here. I think we're about ready to get started. We have been developing this suicide prevention program really since 1998.
It's always been a priority, and until now, it's been behind closed doors. But being quiet hasn't helped.
We know the ages, but the where and the when is all over.
The TTC holds regular meetings to look for solutions to suicide. There's a new urgency because of an alarming spike in the number of attempts.
We had one the other night at Wellesley, young girl, 17, and it was a long conversation between my station supervisor and this young girl. And then when the next train came in, she went to jump, and my station supervisor pulled her back. So is there opportunity there to learn from what our frontline employees, what they're trained and now what they're putting into action, right?
Absolutely, good idea. We've talked to people, but we've never done it in a systematic way. Like we could make it.
Every option is on the table.
Okay, that concludes the meeting, so we'll be in touch.
And it's all out in the open. Despite the fear, talking about suicide publicly could trigger copycats.
Why is it so important to the TTC to be so open and to tackle this in such an open way, even giving us this kind of access?
Well, I guess not talking about it hasn't worked, you know, in summary. So we needed to find some way to be responsible about communicating. You have to find a way to bring it up, to talk about it. I think probably every family in Canada has been touched by suicide and some extended member of the family. So people know, and I think people are well aware that suicide happens in the subway. So it's not a matter of it being news to people.
What is new is that it's getting worse. In the last 2 years, the number of attempts has more than doubled. In that time, nearly 100 people have tried to kill themselves. Transit workers have also stopped dozens more people in distress.
He was supposed to be heading over to Dufferin Station.
When and where is largely random.
135A, go ahead.
The only real pattern is the lack of one. Suicide is a constant, grim expectation, and there can never be enough eyes watching.
Roger. At Lawrence, change route 67.
The next station is Victoria Park, Victoria Park Station.
I remember getting up off my seat, slamming an emergency, screaming, no, and then that big, loudest bang I've ever heard. And
James Deneau couldn't stop in time. He was driving into the station when he hit a man. 4 years later, he can still hear his screams.
you're just screaming, help me, God help me, please help me, over and over and over and over. You're dreaming about it. You're thinking about it all the time. You hear someone scream and then you think about it and you're looking over it, right? So, yeah.
James's nightmare reveals a shocking truth. Death is no guarantee. Half of people who attempt suicide by subway survive the initial impact. Those who live have horrendous injuries. James doesn't know what happened to the man he struck.
I don't think I want to know. Like, only because there's that hope that he lived. And maybe he's still alive today. Maybe he's picked himself up. And I even now I feel, emotional that if he did die, his family, did he have brothers and sisters? He has a mom and dad. I mean, the impact, not just of me and my family, but his family as well, to choose that, I mean, it's tough, right? It's tough. So I don't think I just want to think he survived. That's what I want to think. And that'll help me through my day, I think.
It took a while to get through a single day. James was on leave for 17 months. The cost associated to employees' mental health recovery is huge.
Attention customers. Flying one young university has minor delays due to a police investigation.
The cost of service delays can be staggering too. A single incident can add up to millions of dollars of lost time.
So is the work progressing satisfactorily? Yeah, it's been good.
Those cold costs, the emotional toll, are driving a renewed push for a permanent solution.
Yeah, I've seen that work really, really well in places like Singapore and China and Hong Kong.
It's been talked about many times, and now the first concrete step in years. A team of experts is assessing what it would take to build platform edge doors, physical barriers that only open when trains are in the station. It would cost at least $1 billion to retrofit an aging subway system. The political will to fund it has to be there. And more than anything, the conviction, John says, to do the right thing.
It's a moral imperative. So knowing that we have a solution to all this loss of life, how can we not go ahead and do it? If you know there's something you can do that's going to save one life, then you are duty-bound to do that thing.
The doors would also mean a reprieve from being on guard all the time. On this day, John breaks away to watch over a man who seems vulnerable.
He was acting in an unusual way, so I just wanted to make sure that he got on the train safely.
Are you worried that he might do something, or?
Yeah, just a little bit.
Is it always on your mind when you're on the subway?
Yeah, pretty much.
If the funding for the doors comes through, it's still years away. So what now? The TTC is refreshing its crisis line posters, reminding people help is a call away. And there is a new plan to encourage commuters to approach someone who appears to be distressed. The research shows a simple hello could break a deadly impulse.
They needed somebody to acknowledge. I needed to not feel alone in that moment.
In that desperate moment 11 years ago, Paul Hadelman says he wanted to die. And then he locked eyes with a stranger on the subway platform.
My body's trembling, I was a mess. Tears started coming down my face. And I just said, can you talk to me? Just talk to me. And he did. He said, okay, well, what's going on? Are you okay? And I went, no. That was kind of the start and the end of it. I got on the train, and the moment I stepped on the train, I just felt this complete sigh of relief.
That you hadn't
Yeah,
acted on it.
yeah. It was just, okay, I got through this.
How grateful are you for turning to that man that day?
In a weird way, I owe my life to him, I guess. I have no idea who that person is. If he walked by me right now, I would never know. I can't even remember what he looks like, but he was just a person that cared and did the right thing.
It was a turning point, and it set him on the road to recovery.
There's no words to describe it. I'm here, I'm happy. I wake up happy every day. I never thought this would happen, never.
Karen can't help but wonder if small talk could have saved her son's life.
Oh, look out here, and I want to see, okay, where was he in this whole platform area? And somebody was watching, and
It was the middle of the day. There were so many people around.
And I always think, too, what if somebody there on the platform said to him, hey, buddy, want to go for a smoke, or just, hey, buddy?
Arriving at
Would that have
Dundas Station.
that out of his mind?
Doors will open on the right.
She'll never know. But John says the suffering and the silence has to end.
We need to mobilize public opinion. We need to shine a light on it and say, you wouldn't want this to happen to anybody in your family. And it's happening to other people's families, and it may happen to somebody in your family. So let's get this done. This needs to get done.
Because if there ever was safety in silence, the feeling here is, it's gone. Joanna Romiliotis, CBC News, Toronto.
Extraordinary shift to start talking about it, but talking matters. So if you or someone you know are thinking of suicide, there are people you can talk to. You can contact Crisis Services Canada or Kids Help Phone. Those numbers are on your screen.
We're going to take a 2-minute break, but when we come back, more from Rosie at Rideau Hall on Election Call Eve. Just who is the average Canadian voter? The answer might surprise you.
Welcome back to Rideau Hall here in Ottawa, the nation's capital. Tomorrow, the federal election will formally get underway right here, in fact. So get ready for more door knocking, more ads, all designed at winning over as many of you, as many Canadians as possible. But who is the average Canadian voter anyway? And what are they most concerned about? We asked Peter Armstrong to find out.
Who are we? Who is the Canadian voter? 17.5 million Canadians voted in the last election, but what do we really know about one another? It's easy to see our country as an economy driven by resources or banking, but the most common job among Canadian men is truck driver. The most common job among Canadian women is retail sales. How much do we make? The political parties will talk incessantly about the middle class and those who are working hard to join it. But the middle class has become a catchphrase that doesn't really mean anything. Here's what we can say. The typical family brings in about $70,000 a year. The thing we're most concerned about heading into this election is the cost of living, which makes sense. We've seen 10 years of economic expansion, which the most recent data show has mostly benefited the rich. Stocks are up 275%, while wages have remained flat. Canadian households carry record levels of debt. For every dollar we earn, we owe $1.73. And economic growth in Canada is spotty. While the economy is, broadly speaking, doing well, it depends in large part where you live. The point of all this is there is no one single Canadian voter, no typical experience, which is why elections matter. It's our chance to break out of these bubbles. Because if we don't do it now, when will we? Peter Armstrong, CBC News, Toronto.
So if you want to learn more about your local MP, before they aren't anymore after tomorrow, their websites might be a good place to start. But a CBC News investigation has found that those sites could be tracking you. Ashley Burke shows us how.
Before tomorrow's official election start, MPs are out gathering information door to door, and they're also collecting it click to click.
But if we actually go to look at how much is being tracked, we see that there are 7 trackers.
A CBC News investigation looked at every MP's website. It found something called trackers embedded in the majority of them. They're used to gather information on user behavior, but some are used for advertising. There can be multiple trackers per website.
Really what they are little pieces of software or data that get put on your computer every time you go to a website that lets that website better track what you did on the website.
If you visit an MP's website and they have an advertising tracker, their re-election ads could start popping up in your Facebook feed or other websites you visit.
It's not being disclosed that these trackers exist. We don't know what data is being collected, we don't know who it's being shared with, we don't know how it's being used to then target us again later.
Trackers are everywhere. CBC's website and other Canadian companies also use them. But political parties are exempt from Canada's privacy laws, restricting how this data is used.
I just find that appalling, truly, because there's no transparency, there's no accountability with these MPs' use of trackers on their website.
NDP MP Charlie Angus has trackers on his website, but he says they aren't being used for malicious purposes.
They're not being used in any capacity except in the election to make sure if an ad targets someone and someone clicks on and goes to the website, we know that that's where they came from.
MPs can't use their websites to ask for donations or to get re-elected. But when it comes to these trackers, there are gray zones and gaps in the law. MPs plan to look into it, but that won't happen until after the election. Ashley Burke, CBC News, Ottawa.
It's going to be an exciting next 40 days or so. We'll make sure you have all the information you need before you vote. We've hit the ground running, crisscrossing the country already, visiting key battlegrounds that will decide the election. Sunday nights, the National will have special campaign coverage with a new political panel that takes you inside the party war rooms. And of course, At Issue will be here every Thursday to help you make sense of it all. But for now, back to Toronto.
And Ian is back in 2 minutes with more developing news. Plus, later, the book launch that has fans lining up around the world.
I'm Jamie Poisson, and tomorrow on CBC's daily news podcast, Front Burner, we kick off our federal election coverage with a look at the path to victory for the three big parties. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back to our national newsroom in Vancouver. A vigil was held in Washington today to honor the 157 people who died in the Ethiopian Airlines crash.
For the last 6 months, our lives, the lives of the families of the victims, my life has not moved an inch.
18 Canadians were among those killed March 10th when Flight 302 crashed shortly after takeoff. Families of the victims also met with American transportation officials to express concerns about the Boeing 737 MAX 8 plane and what type of training the pilots might receive before the plane is put back in the air. Hundreds of people have been evacuated in Australia as crews battle more than 130 fires in the country's east coast. Extreme heat and dry conditions are thought to be factors in the unusually fierce fires, but police are also investigating whether some were deliberately set. More than 400 people have been forced from their homes. Although common this time of year, the damage is more severe and widespread than in the past. North Korea is displaying what it calls a super large multiple rocket launcher. State media releasing images of the country's leader, Kim Jong-un, with the weaponry. This is just the latest in a series of tests in recent months, and it came just hours after a top North Korean diplomat suggested the country wants to resume denuclearization talks with the United States. And a Canadian whose street photography turned ordinary moments into renowned works of art has died. Fred Herzog moved from Germany to Vancouver in the 50s and captured street scenes on film. His work wasn't featured in a solo exhibit until 2007, but he quickly became one of Canada's most acclaimed photographers. The 88-year-old passed away yesterday in Vancouver. Still ahead tonight, the real events that inspired Margaret Atwood's latest book and why she waited more than 30 years to write this one. We're back in 2 minutes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you.
That is the highly anticipated sequel to Margaret Atwood's classic novel, The Handmaid's Tale. It's called The Testaments. It just went on sale today, and it's already in the running for the Giller Prize. Now, as for Atwood herself, the launch of this novel has gone global. Cameron McIntosh shows us from London.
London's National Theatre lit green with that familiar silhouette,
Margaret Atwood's global launch of The Testaments making its mark here. From the posters in London tube stations, a must-read on the way home, being snapped up in bookstores. Motivated, says Atwood, by polarization and disenfranchisement she first warned of in the 80s.
People were talking about what they would like to do in the United States if they had the power. And they do have the power.
The book is a follow-up to Atwood's 1985 dystopian classic, The Handmaid's Tale. At one point, it wasn't even clear that she'd come up with a sequel. Now it's getting a push like few others. Last night, a Harry Potter-style midnight launch. Those aren't kids in line.
I'm a little bit frightened because she just seems to have such a far sight of what's going on in the world.
This is more than a book release. This is a cultural moment. It's for everybody, and it's fantastic to get the kind of news coverage that this book is getting. This never happens for books.
There is no resistance.
The Handmaid's Tale, adapted as a TV series, offers a disturbing view of a theocracy oppressing women's most fundamental rights. Atwood says today's divisive political rhetoric drew her back to it, particularly American debates over reproductive rights.
None of this would be happening unless countries were putting people in charge of women's bodies who are not those women.
She's being celebrated, Time calling her a reluctant prophet. The print run could hit the millions.
I think that this kind of thing could be quite ruinous for a 35-year-old, because where do you go from there? In my case, we kind of know the answer.
And that green imagery, from the cover down to her nails, it's central to the book's plot, an already celebrated work as she nears her 80th birthday. Cameron McIntosh, CBC News, London.
We'll be right back with tonight's moment and what happened when a Calgary woman discovered why her longtime hairdresser always sort of felt like family. That's next.
Papers?
22 Minutes is back.
Oh, laugh it up.
Second time's a charm.
Back to you.
22 Minutes, new season, September 17th on CBC and CBC Gem.
Andrea Fleck always had kind of a special connection with her hairdresser. She has been his client for 7 years. She shared all sorts of her secrets with him. But what she didn't know was just how close that connection really was, because it wasn't until they both sent away their DNA that she learned her hairdresser was her half-brother, and that is our moment of the day.
And right from the beginning, gosh, when we first met, I knew there was something, connection there. Didn't know, but we were almost like old souls, kindred spirits.
What happened was Troy got the results from that DNA test first. So he got connected to this half-uncle of ours in the United States.
Troy says, I'm supposed to talk to this girl in Calgary. She has the same DNA as percentages as you do to me. We get on a 3-way call, and as soon as we all connected, as Andrea was saying it out, Andrea, Troy, and we burst into laughter. There was lots of giggling and crying. And
So I would have never imagined this would happen, but yeah, if I could have handpicked a brother, Troy would be it.
This is a fantastic story, obviously, an incredible coincidence. And listen, from my perspective, I was just counting them. I have 7 relatives in Canada who are genetically connected to me. So not by marriage, but 7 blood relatives, I guess. I know where they all are right now. I would never have this experience. And I definitely know I'm not related to my hairstylist.
Yeah, well, maybe. You never know, Ian. Yeah, see, like my take on this is, like, I think it's such a fascinating story and the possibilities are endless, but I think it's terrifying. Like, it's not something that I know I would ever really undertake, because again, the potential's so great. Maybe you end up with this wonderful connection. Maybe it turns out badly. I don't know. Maybe that says something weird about me.
I would totally do it. I'd totally do it. We're missing the headline here, which is that her haircuts are now completely free. That is a national for September the 10th. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.